and similar kind of numbers. But we're going to show you some 1,000% drops in prices. There has never been anything like this in the history of medicine, and it's an honor. And Albert, I want to thank you, and I want to thank everybody behind me, because you are a great team. We have a great team. Everybody says you have a great cabinet. It's a great team. So thank you, Bobby. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
So Donald Trump just abruptly ended a disastrous de facto presser in which he said all sorts of unhinged and genuinely stupid things. I want you to note, as he once again promised a mathematically impossible reduction in the price of prescription drugs, Dr. Oz over his left shoulder burst into laughter and had to look away. RFK Jr. over Trump's right shoulder had to look away as well, because they both recognize while the cameras are rolling that their boss is a fucking moron. And this speech just proves it, in case there's any doubt about that whatsoever. And there seems to be some recognition on Trump's part as well, like, well, I didn't really stick the landing on that, as he abruptly ends his press conference. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, so I said it before, I'll say it again. It is mathematically impossible for Donald Trump to arrange anything more than a 100% reduction in price. Because whatever the price is, if you take it down by 100%, you bring it to zero. Anything beyond that, the drug company would be paying you astronomical sums of money to take their drugs. Now, it's pretty much impossible to get a drug company to take a price or to get the cost of a prescription drug from anything to zero. So even 100% is virtually impossible. But beyond that, there's no way in hell that they're going to pay you to take their drugs. As somebody who is a harsh critic of unbridled American capitalism, even I recognize that that's not possible. We can't socialize it to the extent that we pay people to take prescription drugs. And that's why Dr. Oz, who is a dumbass in his own rights, probably he's just laughing because he's like, what the hell is this guy saying? What are you talking about, man? I digress. Donald Trump won't let it go and seems to believe it's possible. And there's some other clips as well that we have to address, starting with this one.
It was a very important meeting. And this, in terms of pricing, it's going to be great for Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. It's going to be great for everything because your medicine costs are coming way down. We have some examples that I think we'll be able to show you next week of over 1,000% in some cases, where a pill that cost $10 in London was costing $130 in New York and various other places within the United States. And
I don't even know what that means, man. And I don't think he does either. You know that line, that killer line that Trump had against President Biden in their first and only debate of the 2024 cycle, that disastrous debate for Biden? Trump didn't do that much better either. I mean, he was atrocious as well. He just happened to do better than Biden. Where he's like, I have no idea what he just said, and I'm not sure he does either. It was a killer line, and I think that applies to Trump here. Somebody should have hijacked the microphone, but like, I don't know what this old dude is rambling about, but none of that is mathematically possible. You know, 1,000% reduction. What? What are you talking about? Here's another clip.
Yeah, please.
Thank you. I'm curious, where are the other companies other than Pfizer? Are you expecting them to come later?
They're all with us, and I was honored to have Albert be the first. He's done a fantastic job with, as you know, with the COVID. He did a fantastic job with a lot of things. He's a leader, and Pfizer is right at the top. You know, it's there. Eli Lilly has been fantastic also, your friend, my friend. And they're all coming in over the next week. We're making deals with all of them. And I said, if we don't make a deal, then we're going to tariff them an extra 5, 6, 7, 8%, whatever the difference is, and we'll take it that way. So we took away the advantage by the fact that we have tariffs. We took away the advantage that they would have of just saying no, and we couldn't do anything about it. If they do that, what we do is we'd put a tariff on them of an equivalent amount, and we take it that way. And nobody wants to play that game. So they're going to be, they're all going to be good. We didn't have to mention that to Albert. Well, maybe I whispered it to him very slightly. You know, we had to give ourselves a little bit of an advantage. But no, but the tariffs played a big role because they know that's what's good.
If you tariff prescription drugs, you are going to raise the price of prescription drugs even more, than they already are, because there's no way in hell tariffed pharmaceutical companies are going to eat the costs of that. There's just no way. So Trump is actively working to make drugs more expensive than not with these damn tariffs. Here's another clip.
When will prices come down, Mr. President? When can
Immediately.
America?
They're going to start coming down. Drug prices? Well, they'll be starting immediately.
He also said that I'd immediately cut inflation in half. I'm immediately going to bring down the cost of everything. Day one, we're going to end inflation. Inflation has risen on his watch. The price of things are generally more expensive on his watch, which is why his economic approval ratings are in the toilet. Right? This is a guy who used to have an unearned, unjustified, sterling reputation with respect to economic management, and now he's polling as bad in the economy as Biden ever did. And it's so much of this because immediate. Man, just say you don't know. To say nothing of the fact that there's no evidence this is going to work anyway, but let alone to commit to a timetable immediately? Absurd. It really is. But this is what he does. He constantly speaks in hyperbole and superlative, and then he sets the expectation, and when he almost always fails, it backfires on him. And Democrats, by the way, should be working aggressively to make sure that connection is drawn with the American people. Here's another clip.
We're paying the same thing. Yeah.
President Trump, in your first term, when you cut the price of insulin, Biden later came in. He tried to steal credit for that. Do you worry that the Democrats are going to try to steal credit for these historic cuts?
I really appreciate your question, because I did. I cut the price of insulin down to $35. And the problem is with many of these things, in this case it's going to be pretty quick, but oftentimes you'll do something medically because of the process, and it won't be seen for 2 or 3 years. That happened also with, I could say 4 different things, but just if you talk about insulin, so it was 200, 300, 500, and you couldn't get it, and I got it down to 35. And I said, I hope I win the next election, because otherwise whoever wins is going to take credit for it. Well, what happened is we did win the election. We did great. But unfortunately, it didn't work out that way from a practical standpoint. And Biden, when I saw him get up and take credit for the $35 and even less insulin, that was 1,000% lower than what it was just previous. Boy, I tell you, I didn't like it.
Okay, so again, mathematically impossible, number one. Number two, that reporter and Trump are both fucking liars to absurd degrees. So what Donald Trump did is he instituted a voluntary program for Medicaid Part D, a voluntary program that would allow certain companies to lower the costs of prescription drugs. And KFF here has a really good article about this. The facts about the $35 insulin copay cap in Medicare. In a recent post on his social media platform, Donald Trump claimed credit for lowering insulin co-payments to $35 for millions of Americans, stating inaccurately that President Biden had, quote, nothing to do with it. This brief walks through the facts of actions taken under both the Biden and Trump administrations related to capping insulin co-payments. In 2020, the Trump administration established a voluntarily, time-limited model under the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Innovation known as the Part D Senior Savings Model. Under this model, participating Medicare Part D prescription drug plans covered at least one of each dosage form and type of insulin product at no more than $35 per month. The model was in effect from 2021 through 2023, and less than half of all Part D plans chose to participate in each year. What did the Biden administration do? In 2022, President Biden signed into law the Inflation Reduction Act, which included a provision that required all, not was voluntary for less than half, required all Part D plans to charge no more than $35 per month for all covered insulin products, and also limited cost sharing for insulin covered under Part B to $35 per month. What are the key differences? And this handy chart lays it out here, okay? All Medicaid Part D plans, no for Trump, yes for Biden. Voluntary subset of Part D plans, yes for Trump, no to Biden, but that's okay because all is better than some. All mandatory, better than some voluntary. All insulin products covered by Part D plan, no for Trump, yes for Biden. Objectively better. And it goes on like this. So Trump and that reporter just lied their asses off. And are hoping that people don't notice, but we did because facts don't care about your feelings. And again, this is where Democratic surrogates, politicians need to robustly make the case and don't just let Trump take credit for this shit because he lied. Biden did a good thing. objectively far better than Trump. Biden should get all the credit. Trump should get none. But that's not going to happen, Democrats, if you're watching, until you say it loudly and consistently and relentlessly every time the fucking subject comes up. I digress. Here's another clip.
While Nancy Pelosi is ignoring what you're doing for the American people, she's going after your administration for cutting taxpayer-funded health care for illegal aliens. Last night, Nancy Pelosi, she went on NBC last night, dropped a bunch of F-bombs, told Republicans to go F themselves. Has she lost her mind?
We have done an
I think this guy's lost his mind. What are you talking about?
unbelievable job medically. Just this, if you did nothing else, we've done a lot like the insulin. But just this, nobody can ever catch this. This is the biggest price reduction times, maybe 10 times, 15 times than has ever been given before. And this is going to have a huge impact. You know, as I said, Obamacare is not a good thing. It's been bad. And I'd like to make it better. I told them, I spoke to a lot of people, a lot of Democrats recently. I said, why don't we change it? We can make Obamacare much better. We could come up with a new system that would be much better, less expensive for the people and better.
Trump had years. He had the first 2 years of the Trump administration, the first Trump administration, he had control of both chambers of Congress. He promised to repeal and replace Obamacare with something better. He failed spectacularly and then never brought it up again. As a matter of fact, the only other time that he went after Obamacare wasn't even to replace it with something better. What he was trying to do is get Obamacare repealed by way of the Supreme Court during the COVID pandemic. So he tried to do it in Congress, failed because he was so shitty at his job. Then he tried to get the Supreme Court to do it during a pandemic, which would have put more people in danger. He failed there as well. So Donald Trump has only ever tried to kill Obamacare, not meaningfully replace it with something superior. And we have no reason to take him at his word here. I've got 2 more clips I want to play for you, okay? And this is Donald Trump getting called out by a reporter about his lies about the impending government shutdown and what Democrats are demanding.
Time for that.
Not eligible for the health care subsidies that Democrats are demanding. So can you clarify, what are you talking about when you say Democrats want to protect their health care?
So when an illegal person comes in, a person who came into our country illegally, therefore breaking the law, and look, we all have big hearts. I have a bigger heart than you do. They're all breaking the law, and they're coming into our country. And we just, as a country, cannot afford to take care of millions of people who have broken the law coming in. We want them to come into our country, but we want them to come in legally. Now we have a strong border, very strong border, thanks to Christie and Tom Homan and the whole group. They've done an amazing job at the border. I mean, we had a border that was reckless. We had a border that was a disaster. They were coming in by the millions. I say 25 million people. You're saying less, but I say 25 million people came in illegally. And no system can take care of the health care of all of those people.
So again, what Trump and Vance have been saying is that, hey, Democrats are demanding in order for them to vote to keep the government open, they're demanding that we permit free health care for illegal aliens. And it's bullshit. And the reporter calls him out. Like, none of what they're asking for covers undocumented immigrants. So what are you talking about? Well, we have a strong border and I have a big heart and you don't have a big heart. Again, he gets fact checked to his face and can only filibuster in return, okay? Again, more people need to be calling out these lies. And speaking of the government shutdown, which will happen at 12:01 a.m., midnight, 1 minute after midnight, Wednesday morning. So in less than 12 hours at the time of recording, okay? Donald Trump, during this press conference, and we'll end with this, makes a very chilling threat about what he will do if he shuts down the government because he can't get Democrats to vote for a government budget. So he needs their votes. He won't give any sort of concession. So if he shuts down the government, he says that he will punish Democratic voters, constituents, and beneficiaries in the most vicious way possible. Take a look.
I told you, we have $17 trillion being invested. So the last person that wants it shut down is us. Now, with that being said, we can do things during the shutdown that are irreversible, that are bad for them and irreversible by them, like cutting vast numbers of people out, cutting things that they like, cutting programs that they like. And you all know Russell Vought. He's become very popular recently because he can trim the budget to a level that you couldn't do any other way. So they're taking a risk by having a shutdown because of the shutdown, we can do things medically and other ways, including benefits. We can cut large numbers of people. We don't want to do that, but we don't want fraud, waste, and abuse. And, we're cutting that.
So Donald Trump is threatening the health care of blue cities, blue states, Democratic voters, Democratic people in the event that he shuts down the government because he won't negotiate with Democrats. Very explicitly there. We can do things that are permanent, irreversible. We can attack things that they care about, programs that they care about, and he mentions health care. So there you have it, folks. Donald Trump publicly threatening to go after the health care of not just Democratic politicians. That's not it. You and me, the American people. I want you to fucking imagine if Joe Biden ever threatened to do something like that, or if Barack Obama ever threatened to do something like that. This is vicious and cruel and cynical in ways we've simply never seen, and Democrats need to be drawing attention to that as well, and that's why I wanted to end on that. Donald Trump is publicly threatening to take a chainsaw, going deliberately after people's health care. He wants people to get sick and die as leverage against the Democratic Party in these shutdown negotiations. And people need to call him out for it, and they need to vote his party out of office in 2026 and 2028, and from now until the end of time, until the stars burn out. These people cannot be trusted with power, and they need to be voted out in every damn election. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.